presentation of Fox Sports.
Texas to Stillwater, Oklahoma, our Fox Sports Network's coverage of college football takes you back down 35 South to Waco, Texas, where the Baylor Bears have traveled from an off-campus stadium right to the heart of the Baylor campus and the brand-new facility here at McLean Stadium, a work of art when it comes to stadiums here in Waco. This was earlier today. The hot and humid weather gave way to the skies opening and fans, well, sailing away to cover, but they have done some work. They have cleared the stadium. The officials have met. They have backed us up just slightly here before kickoff, but we will have football for you shortly as the fans make their way back into the stadium here in Waco. And moments ago, they released the students to the sections that they are allowed to sit in. First come, first serve out of the concourse, and they energetically got to their seats as fast as they could. Here today, it'll be the number 10 Baylor Bears, the defending Big 12 champions, taking on the FCS Northwestern State Demons out of the Southland Conference. With former Big 12 linebacker Ben Lieber, I'm Brendan Burke. Thanks for tuning in here today. We do have a delay. Weather is an issue for not only us, but for the players as well. Ben, what does it do for a player ready to come out? Northwestern State ramped up for a big game, and now they say, hold on, you got to wait.
Yeah. Well, you know, football is all about routine and repetition. So on game day, it's nothing different. These guys know what they want to do in the locker room, how they prepare, and then you get your adrenaline up, and they tell you to go sit back down and calm down and think about your game plan a little bit more. So it's a little different. It's a little bit more challenging, but these guys will be all right.
And they will have a shorter warm-up period as well, so they got to crank things back up in a hurry. When we come back, we'll update you on the weather, get you ready for kickoff between the Baylor Bears and the Northwestern State Demons here in Waco. On the banks of the Brazos River is McLean Stadium, the new home of the Baylor Bears, who moved from Floyd Casey Stadium just last week. This stadium opened on Sunday, and boy, what a scene it was here at Baylor. They have waited a long time for a facility like this, where they have moved on campus, which is a huge part of why this is so special. And on Sunday, well, there's a tradition, the Baylor line, the largest freshman class in the history of this school, and they got to open this in grand fashion.
Well, there's a lot of changes here at Baylor. Stadium, obviously, number one.
All the athletic departments are on the up and up in the Big 12 and around the country. And I've actually had a chance to play at Floyd Casey Stadium, and I can tell you from my own personal experience, they needed a new stadium. So congratulations to Baylor. It's great for the Big 12, it's great for college football, and it's great for these guys here in the Baylor football program.
And you saw Robert Griffin III there as well. He is a big part of the success and a lot of the things that have happened here at Baylor, and they unveiled a statue for him outside of the stadium as well. And Ben, you mentioned it. You've played in both of these places, a totally different environment, atmosphere, not only for the fans, but for the players as well. This is a whole new ballgame.
Well, the players at the old stadium, they'd have to catch rides just to get to practice because it was off campus. So a lot of things have changed. It opens up recruiting. Obviously, high school kids, they love to see all the pizzazz and the swag with the apparel. And now they can back it up with this brand new, beautiful stadium. You know, where else can you go boating right before the game, right outside the stadium? So a very unique experience here at Baylor.
Well, the fans are ready. The Bears are almost ready. They're about to take the field for their warm-up period. Northwestern State making their way onto the field. We'll be back as we inch closer to football between the Bears and the Demons here at McLean Stadium. Welcome back to McLean Stadium. We are in a weather delay, but we are making progress here as the players are on the field. We should be very close to kickoff. And for more on updating us on the situation, we go down to the field and Christian Steckel.
Well, guys, you never know what you're going to find. The weather here, it arrived, the skies opened up, and so we are set now to kick at about 6:50. Both teams are going to get 15 minutes to warm up on the field. It's very interesting because Baylor wanted to go to as close as the original kick time as possible. Northwestern State said, no, we need some warm-up time. They were pushing for 20 or 30 minutes, but as you take a look behind me, the teams are now on the field, getting warmed up. We're pushing in for a 6:50 Central Time kick.
Well, thank you, Christian, and that'll be a theme for today. Northwestern State wants to slow down Baylor, but we will get into that. I mean, they want to back things up. They want to slow things down. They started before the game even started.
Yeah, absolutely. I would do the same thing. I mean, you got a high-powered offense that runs really fast. I mean, anything to take them out of their game. If they want to start early, no, you want to push it back. If they want to push it back, no, we're going to start early. So just do the opposite of what they want to do, make them uncomfortable.
As we take a look at what the weather could turn into right now, we have some clear skies, but there are some thunderstorms, scattered thunderstorms in the area. That right in the middle there is what we're looking at in Waco, and you see the outskirts. There is some heavier stuff. When it came down earlier, it started light, but it came down heavy, and there was thunder and lightning. It has all been gone for the better part of over an hour, but there is still a threat of more weather, and again, that could have an impact on the game itself.
Well, and it's obviously not so much the rain that they're worried about, it's just the lightning, and for obvious reasons. So, you know, if there are lightning strikes, I believe the rule is you send everybody inside. You have to wait at least 30 minutes from the last lightning strike. So that's always possible when you have those cells that we just saw in and around Waco, in and around the stadium.
Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will get to football. We'll break down all the injuries that Baylor is dealing with heading into their Week 2 matchup against Northwestern State. Getting you ready for Baylor and Northwestern State here from Waco. According to the scoreboard, we're roughly 8 minutes away from the start of tonight's football game. With Ben Lieber, I'm Brendan Burke, and well, for Baylor, Week 1 was an astounding success. They opened up a great building. They put a 45-0 score up on SMU, but there was some negative to it. They lost some pieces for today's game. The biggest one, Bryce Petty.
Well, you can't talk about Bryce Petty and not mention his toughness. You know, he's regarded as probably one of the toughest football players in the country. And last week, he proved it playing through 2 cracked bones in his lower back. So, yes, you lose a team leader and a potential Heisman candidate, but you also gain 2 other things. He showed a mentality and a toughness last week that I think resonates through that locker room. So that much you gain. And also you gain, whenever somebody goes down, the next man has to step up. And that next man is Seth Russell, the backup quarterback. So Seth comes in last week, doesn't have a great game. Throws an interception, looks a little shaky, but when you talk to the coaches, they are wowed by his athletic ability. He can jump out of the gym, and he's got a lot of potential to run this type of offense. So he'll have another opportunity tonight to go against a first-team defense and to see if he can prove himself once again.
Well, the Heisman hopeful may be the main concern for the Baylor Bears, but he is not the only concern for the Baylor Bears and the players that will not play in today's game. There you see them, the top 4 returning wide receivers all out in Coleman, Goodley, Fuller, and Norwood. And you've got a running back in Devin Chafin who is not able to go today, and Trayvon Armstead with a knee injury most likely will not play. The other 5 definitely won't. And so there are many things to be concerned about, but as you mentioned with the quarterback, the next guy has to step up. A lot of opportunity for young players to prove themselves here tonight.
Yeah, and Antoine Goodley and Bryce Petty, the top returning quarterback receiver duo, so we won't be seeing them tonight, but you do get a chance to see a lot of young receivers step up. K.D. Cannon amongst other guys, so it's still going to be a great watch to see these young receivers come out here and run all over the field.
Earlier today, it was the Bears on their way into the stadium, the Bear Walk that came across the Brazos River, and with that, the only time you'll see that team walking here today. The pace will be picking up here tonight as Art Briles all smiles before the game. He is going to be all business when we come back, and his offense will crank it up to another level. In a league full of fast-paced offenses, this is the top, the fast of them all.
Also starting at safety, number 20.
McLean Stadium be the site of the Baylor Bears and the Northwestern State Demons. In FBS school against an FCS school. Brennan Burke, Ben Lieber, Christian Steckel all with you. That's 76 degrees you see in the bottom left-hand corner. Very different from what we had a few hours ago before the rain. It is a much more pleasant evening to play football in here tonight. But Ben, you have a big school against a small school. You want the second team to get game reps. That's why you schedule these games. With Baylor, this is not how they had it drawn up when they scheduled this game.
No, Seth Russell, the backup quarterback for Baylor, he knew last week that he was probably going to get some reps. I mean, that's just the way it is when you play smaller schools and you have such a high-powered offense. But he came in last week a little bit unprepared to me, and this week is no different. I mean, they're playing an FCS school. He knows that he's going to get some reps, but like you said, this is not the way that they thought he was going to get in. Usually the second half type of reps against the second, third team defense. But he's going to have a real opportunity. And actually, this is a great opportunity for the coaching staff and for this team to evaluate some talent, see how he plays against a first team defense for all 4 quarters if he happens to play all 4 quarters. So it's a great opportunity for the young quarterback.
And you worry about with a new quarterback sometimes the continuity and the chemistry with receivers. But when you look at this injury problem as a whole for Baylor, these are a lot of second-team receivers as well. These are the guys he works with all week during practice and has been since camp opened and even during the spring. Yeah, unfortunate with all the #1 receivers going down. It doesn't throw off that chemistry like you're talking about and the timing, because Quan Jones, Davion Hall, and KD Cannon are all freshmen that were basically on the second team anyway, working with Seth. So that's all going to be there. The continuity, all the timing, all the rhythm stuff that we talk about, that's all going to come out tonight because they've been practicing all week and really all preseason like that. We've been talking a whole lot about the Baylor offense. There's one guy who's had the task of trying to stop it here today. That's Northwestern State's defensive coordinator, Mike Lucas. He's with our Christian Steckel.
All right, guys, thanks. Coach, the Bears are banged up, but any top 10 program in America has depth. How do you go about slowing these guys down tonight?
I think we're well prepared. We've worked on their speed during the week. We've talked to a lot of people in the offseason about how to defend them. I think we're well prepared, and our guys are going to play hard.
Last year, Baylor averaged almost 260 yards a game on the ground. That led the Big 12. How do you guys contend tonight in the trenches? Can you compete on the line of scrimmage?
We've got to do a good job with our defensive line and linebackers, and especially rolling our 2 deep guys because of the speed and the pace that they go. So we've got to play a lot of guys and be real physical up front.
Coach, we're glad to be here. Good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, back up to you.
Thank you, and it's an emotional time for these players as well. This is the biggest stage some of them will ever play on, taking on a top 10 school on the road here at a brand new facility. The crowd's ready to go. Are these players going to be ready to go from the opening snap?
Well, they better be, and they should be. I mean, this is a great opportunity. The second team ever to play in this stadium, obviously outside of Baylor. So there's a lot that goes into that. You know, going back to my time in college, playing in big games and big stadiums, I mean, you're juiced up and ready to go all week long. I mean, sometimes you're losing sleep days before just because you're so amped up. So these guys are ready, rain delay and all. They're ready to go. They're ready to show people, hey, what I'm made of. Some of these guys have been recruited by big-time universities, and they want a chance to go out against the Big 12 chance and show that, hey, I can compete at this level and at this stage. So these guys are going to be ready to go. How do you like this, Ben? Northwestern State wins the toss. They defer and give Baylor the football right away. They're going to put their defense on the spot here off the opening kick. Well, that's going to be a little bit risky because, you know, that's one thing. We were talking to the coaches yesterday at Baylor. I mean, obviously they want to start fast, but especially with this game, having a bunch of backups at receiver, your backup quarterback in the ball game, they said it's paramount that we start this game fast. They want to have a bunch of points in the first and second quarter, and then things kind of settle down from there. So it's interesting that Northwestern State wants them to have the ball first, to have that opportunity, but also it shows a lot of confidence in their defense. Lynx Hawthorne will be back to receive for Baylor. They're missing their wide receivers, Levi Norwood, Antoine Goodley. That also means they're missing some of their special team players. Goodley, normally a kick returner. Hawthorne will take his place and be back there for the Baylor Bears. Chris Moore is ready. The fans have been waiting a little bit extra for this one here today. And finally, we are underway here at McLean Stadium. From the goal line, and straight through the middle in a big hole. Flags come flying in as Hawthorne continues to roll down the sideline. And it's 100 yards to the end zone for Lynx Hawthorne. Will check the penalty marker back at the 30-yard
in Baylor territory. They have yet to announce the penalty, but the Baylor fans already booing.
Holding by number 15 of the return team. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it's first down.
Well, unfortunate on the penalty, this is what we call a sucker play. Probably called sucker left. You want to get everybody thinking that you're going to go to the right, and you sucker them by going to the left. As you see, the defenders on the left, or the blockers on the left side, blocking, kicking out. So kind of a little bit of a misdirection return. Set up properly. Obviously, you can't hold on the return. That's why they're sent back.
And it was the tight end, Gus Penning, who's out there for the offense, and Seth Russell taking over for Bryce Petty. And there you see some of his physical attributes with almost a 42-inch vertical, and right away they hand the ball off and get going. And a 1-yard loss on the first play from scrimmage for Baylor. Seth Russell has thrown 43 passes over his career. He is a sophomore out of Garland High School in Texas. 23 of those were last week as they go right up the middle for 5 yards to shock Linwood. Marion Chapman makes the stop, and you see easing him in a couple of runs on 1st and 2nd down. It sets up 3rd and 6. And Russell will go out of the shotgun. Here's his first pass of the game, and he dunks it off. Complete to shock Linwood, and he had the sideline. He's out close to midfield. 23 yards, pushed out of bounds by Tyler Roussel.
And that was just great recognition on the offensive coordinator's part to know that they're going to be in man coverage. They ran Jay Lee, the receiver on the left-hand side, ran him underneath and snuck out the running back in that big void, and that's why there was nobody there.
Johnny Jefferson into the game now, but he's Russell to pass, and Katie Cannon went up and got it. Breaks away. Touchdown, Baylor Bears. 50 yards for the freshman, Katie Cannon. A true freshman had a 46-yard touchdown reception last week for his first career catch, and his first catch tonight goes for 50 and a touchdown. Chris Callahan, he's out for the point after. 7-0 Baylor.
Well, they set this play up with a couple runs, an easy pass. Now they go back to the play action. It was actually really good coverage by Fred Thomas, the corner. But kind of a back shoulder throw against man coverage. And that's the playmaking ability that they love to see out of KD Cannon. He was a blue chip recruit out of high school. They said, we can't redshirt this guy. He makes too many plays in practice. And then you saw the last week, he came out, had a big game on a big reception for a touchdown. And this one now on the opening drive, you see right there, KD Cannon showing his playmaking ability and his ability to adjust to the football and just showing what the coaches are so excited about.
Cannon's 46-yard catch last week was their longest play of the game, so his 50-yard catch here tonight is their longest play from scrimmage of the season. And Baylor's not going to get shut out today. We probably could have guessed that off the start, but this is the 89th straight game in which Baylor has scored a point and tying a school record as they've reached 89 games. This one is kicked away in the direction of Ed Egan. He's their playmaker on offense and on kick returns, and he's got it across the 25, and he's brought down after a 12-yard return as we check in with Christian Steckel.
Well, guys, as Seth Russell came to the sideline after that opening touchdown drive, Art Briles found him right away, and he said, good job. Way to put it up and give him a chance. And I got to tell you, Ben, when you've got receivers like that, I don't care what year they are, when you throw the ball up and in space, they can go get it and make a play like that. It's going to make Seth Russell's night a lot easier as he's getting this start.
Well, he does a great job of just understanding his players. He knows that KD, can adjust to the football very well. He's only 6 foot, but he has great leaping ability. You look at the other receivers, Jay Lee's 6'3", Davion Hall 6'2", Quan Jones is 6'5". So other situations are going to present itself just to throw the football up and let these receivers make plays.
Zach Atkins, the senior quarterback, hands it to Garrett Atzenweiler. Nowhere to go, and the Baylor defense, which flexed its muscles last week, starts with a tackle for loss on first down. Atkins is a senior from Riverside, California, actually a transfer in from Riverside City College. They love him here, though, a dynamic leader. They like the decisions he makes. Had a good week last week. The offense was not the problem last week as the Demons fell apart in the second half, blowing a 17-point lead at halftime in a 34-27 loss to Missouri State. But Zach Atkins was 31 for 42. That's almost 74% with a couple of touchdowns and 318 yards. 2nd and 11 after a loss on first down. And Atkins back to pass, and now he's on the move, steps up, and he's got some room to run as he crosses the 30 and knocked out of bounds. Right at the 32-yard line, Xavier Howard introducing himself to Zach Atkins. Time now for our Dr. Pepper starting lineup. Key players, Atzenweiler and Egan for Northwestern State, and on the defensive side for Baylor, Hager and Xavier Howard.
Well, it's going to be all about running the football, I think, for Northwestern State, and that goes down to the workhorse. Atzenweiler, expect him to get a lot of touches. And you mentioned it earlier about Ed Egan. He's their most consistent playmaker, so especially on third downs, look for him. Defensively, Bryce Hager, can't say enough about this preseason All-American. He's just what you call a football player. And Xavier Howard is a tremendous talent on the edges. He will lock down every receiver.
Crowd getting loud here on 3rd and 4. And Atkins is throwing it up for Egan. Jump ball. And it's picked off by Xavier Howard. Back across the midfield. And he stepped out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Atzenweiler, the running back, was able to knock him out of bounds. Xavier Howard had a pick last week, and he has another one here today.
And that is talked about Howard and how much upside he has. That's an unbelievable job of running the route. He put his body against the receiver, used the sideline as an extra defender, squeezed off that throwing lane, and just got his hand in between the ball and the receiver. Tremendous job.
Then a 26-yard return as Shock Linwood falls forward for a couple on first down. I know Howard's the guy that you really liked and keyed on coming into this game, and he's made a couple of plays that have shown why already. And here we are again. Russell over the middle, and he misfired. Intended for Links Hawthorne, just out of his reach.
And I like now in the second series, Baylor came out the first series and ran the football a little bit just to get Seth Russell kind of comfortable. This series, always after a turnover, what we call sudden change, you always kind of want to go for the end zone and press it a little bit, and that's what they're doing right now.
They dump this one off, and again, a wide-open receiver. Shock Linwood slips by, tries to hurdle back over a defender, but he's taken down. They'll mark him out inside the 5-yard line. A 29-yard pickup before Adam Jones made the stop.
Well, they're going to have to make a quick adjustment on the defensive side of the ball because that's the exact same play that you saw Shock get on that first drive.
Russell will take it himself. And a good job wrapped up by Roussel and brought down for a loss. Tyler Roussel, the senior out of St. Charles Catholic in Louisiana. Northwestern State is in Natchitoches, Louisiana. An FCS school coming in here to Baylor, the number 10 team in the nation. Baylor 6 for 9 in the red zone last week, scoring 5 touchdowns. And look at Johnny Jefferson try and keep going after rolling off a defender. He gets 2 yards. Wilbur Myers in the way.
Wilbur Myers doing a great job. He comes in. This is more of a goal line package, but he's their guy. They're hybrid. Some defenses call him the stud type of player. He just came flashing off the edge, unaccounted for, and makes a great tackle.
3rd and goal from the 3. And it is Russell. He's in. Touchdown, Baylor.
And they love Seth Russell because he can make plays throwing the football, but also using his legs. They talked about getting him active, throwing it and running it. So obviously in these situations, he has the ability to tuck the ball on this read option and make some plays with his feet, just like he did there, and ran to the side and beat the defender to the corner.
Chris Callahan puts it through and makes it 14-0 Baylor. The drive ended in a touchdown, but it started with an unbelievable interception by Xavier Howard. A big play by Shock Linwood got him down the sidelines, and the quarterback, Seth Russell, took him the rest of the way. 14-0 Bears early. College football on Fox Sports is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By your local Ford dealer. Visit your local Ford dealer now for great deals during the Built Ford Tough Sales event. And delivered by Baylor Scott and White Health, the official healthcare provider of Baylor Athletics. We have yet to play 5 minutes tonight, but it is already 14-0 Baylor. 6 plays, 34 yards. It took 91 seconds, capped off by the Russell touchdown run. As Egan takes it from his own end zone for Northwestern State. He gets across the 20, bounces off a tackle, but won't make it to the 25. As he is wrapped up by Orion Stewart, the safety. And we've talked a lot about the offense. We often do, but how about the defense last week for Baylor? 9 sacks against SMU.
Well, and a lot of people focused on Sean Oakman, but Bo Blackshear, Jamal Palmer, all those guys up front, they got a lot of work in and were extremely disruptive. And like I said, with Xavier Howard on the edge, he gives you a real chance now when you're going against these receivers to lock people down, erase that guy off the board, and let the big guys eat. And already they forced a turnover tonight.
Can't imagine why people were focusing on the guy that's 6'9", 280. Looking long on first down. Atkins throws it up. And it is complete to Bryant Mitchell near the sideline. Give him 31 yards on first down as they go up over the top. Ryan Reed was in coverage and couldn't prevent that catch.
Well, how quickly your game plan changes. They told us going into this game they wanted to run the football, milk the clock, but by giving Baylor the offense right off the kickoff, they're down 14 points, and now you've got to adjust. Great ball, great adjustment. I mean, it was well defended, but just a good job adjusting the football on the outside shoulder.
Atkins gives it to Taylor. And Taylor close to the 40-yard line. 4 yards there on first down. Avion Edwards made the tackle. Not everybody healthy for Northwestern State as well. DeMar Lorenz, one of their running backs who was an impact player in last week's game, unable to go today because of an injury. Nowhere near the amount of issues that Baylor's having on the injury front for the most part. Northwestern State is healthy. They are missing their left guard, Jonathan Lewis, as well on offense. And on 2nd and 6, the give is to Taylor again. And look at Bryce Hager just wrapping him up and pulling him down in the backfield.
Normally you're going to see Bryce as the middle linebacker off the ball right over the center. This time he comes off the edge, unaccounted for on the left-hand side there. I know it's an easy path to the running back, but sometimes and too often times you see guys miss the layup. So great job of him just executing, coming off the edge, and then finishing with the tackle.
They'll bring up 3rd and 6 for the Demons. I see that play clock running down. That's by design for Northwestern State. And they give it again to Taylor, and he won't get there. Just a yard. Jamal Palmer in the way, who Bennett called his most productive lineman last week.
He's extremely underrated, and not just because he can get to the quarterback and wreak some havoc, but just as you saw in that last play, he can stick his foot in the ground and redirect. That's something that this whole defense does very, very well. They pursue to the football, they're relentless, and they attack, attack, attack. These guys, this is not a finesse football team on either side, and this defense is much improved this year.
It is Andy Wickman to punt it away. Cal Spengler will let it drop, and look at this one. sitting down inside the 5-yard, doesn't even need the help from his players down there to down it. And Baylor will have some tough field position already with a 14-0 cushion, though, here over Northwestern State. They love their bears around here, even out on the water in the Brazos River. Baylor up 14-0 because of this up-tempo NASCAR-style offense. Ben, from a player's perspective, how do you defend that high up-tempo offense?
It's tough, but there's a couple things that I look at from a defensive player. You have to keep it simple from the verbiage to everything. Keep it simple for the defensive players and do your job. The offense wants to confuse you, but you can't get caught up in trying to do too much. Do your job. And TCU and Baylor, especially this year, do a great job of beating up the receivers. It's all about timing with the spread offense and spacing. So if you get some corners and some linebackers in these guys' space, disrupt that timing, you can be successful.
Oh boy, wide open again is KD Cannon. No chance for Northwestern State. 81 yards, touchdown Baylor. Was a two-play drive, 96 yards, all of them to the true freshman KD Cannon.
Well, again, we can't say enough good things about this kid. I mean, flashed in practice, made a ton of plays. They said we're not going to redshirt this guy because he can just stretch the field with that speed. And once again, he did it. I tell you what, number 23, Fred Thomas, he's pulled a tough assignment tonight trying to cover him. Got him on that first touchdown and got him once again. It actually looked like, to me, a little bit of confusion on the defense. And we talk about keeping things simple. Something was mixed up on the back end. They didn't cover him, and Cannon goes for another touchdown.
That drive, 20 seconds for the Baylor Bears. They've increased their lead to 21-0 with the arm of Russell and the legs of the freshman Cannon going all the way for the score. Times on Northwestern State sideline with the Baylor freshmen in their ears. Down 21-0 already after the longest and fastest drive of the season for Baylor. As KD Cannon. Now with 3 catches, you see those numbers, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. That means Seth Russell, the starting quarterback today, playing in place of Bryce Petty, is 5 for 6 with 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. We're halfway through the first quarter. Going back to the Northwestern State Demons and Ed Egan, who averaged 22 yards on returns last week. And look at him hurdle over a defender, but he couldn't get his feet back underneath him. A 22-yard return there. And Terrence Singleton upended him. There is a flag on the play, though. Back inside the 20-yard line.
After the play, a dead ball personal foul against number 1 of the kicking team. A 15-yard penalty and a first down.
It's Chris Sanders, cornerback. Give a little extra yardage for the Northwestern State offense.
I mean, this offense scores so quickly. I mean, I put some thought in that player perspective, and I didn't get a chance to get through it. I think we got to number 3. And these guys are just throwing the ball all over the place. Obviously, nothing missing between Russell and Cannon and their relationship.
Zach Atkins will hand it to Atzenweiler, who took a hard hit right there from Hager. Did get through for 3 yards. Baylor last week ran 97 offensive snaps against SMU. Just for a little bit of perspective, Northwestern State, who considers themselves up-tempo, not playing Baylor, ran 71 against Missouri State.
Well, I don't think you can't replicate it. I know a lot of offenses want to run this up-tempo offense, but these guys are extremely quick at getting to the football, getting off the pile, resetting the ball, and getting the next play called. So it's hard to duplicate.
Atzenweiler in the backfield, and again, they let the play clock run down to round 3 before they snap it. And this is the quarterback, Atkins, on the keeper, and again, Bryce Hager sniffing him out after just 2 yards, and it'll bring up 3rd and 5.
You know, Bryce Hager is one of those players who's battled through some injury, but when you watch him on film, you know, he may not be the fastest or the strongest or wow you with some athleticism, but, you know, and this is just a compliment, he's a football player. A lot of coaches at every level just love football players. He's got the grittiness, he's got the toughness, and playing that middle linebacker spot, he's also extremely smart, and he runs this defense as well. So it's nice to see him back and healthy for this 2014 season.
Northwestern State has not converted a 3rd down on 2 tries so far today, and look at Atkins slipping down for a 4-yard loss on 3rd down. We've talked about the delay we had. There was a lot of wet weather. The field was absolutely soaked. It drained to the eye perfectly, but I'm assuming there's still some moisture down there on the turf.
Well, no doubt it's a little slippery down there because of all this rain. It drained nicely, but you are going to have some footing issues, and we see Baylor bringing the blitz and shutting down that run.
Going for it on 4th down. It is 4th and 8, and now they'll back up, and most likely we'll see a pooch here from Atkins. And he will put it back. Nobody to return it for Baylor, and it is down by Ed Egan inside the 20-yard line. A 36-yard punt for the quarterback, Zach Atkins. And Baylor will get the ball back. They have had it 3 times before. They have put 3 touchdowns on the board as Baylor's offense is coming back out on the field. When we come back, impressive so far. They're missing 4 receivers. Their starting quarterback, no problem, against Northwestern State. Number 10, Baylor up by 3 touchdowns against Northwestern State. Time now for our Dr. Pepper starting lineup. Key players for the Baylor offense and the Northwestern State defense.
Well, on offense, we've already talked about K.D. Cannon. I mean, he's already had a couple touchdowns. You've seen his playmaking ability. Davion Hall is another guy that expect to step up and flash his abilities as well. Iman Claiborne, corner out there for Northwestern's defense. He's probably the best player on that defense. They've thrown away from him so far tonight. I expect him to kind of attack his side next. And you got Deion Simon, the guy in the middle. If they choose to run this football, he's going to have to be big to step up.
Complete pass to Lynx Hawthorne, who was wrestled back. Just a 2-yard pickup. Adam Jones got to him first. And coming in to this drive, Ben, the Baylor offense had scored 3 touchdowns. They have done it in a total of 3 minutes and 9 seconds. That's all they've had the ball for, and they've been able to put up 3 touchdowns. They are 3 for 3 on 3rd down. This is their 4th opportunity. As Russell work out of the shotgun, Johnny Jefferson to his left, and the give is to Jefferson, and he's got a hole, and he's across the 35. It's a 1st down. Adam Jones with the stop, but not before 17 yards for the redshirt freshman out of Shoemaker High School.
And that's the thing with this offense. You always think pass, 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 but they can run the football. And because they spread you out like that, sometimes guys don't get a lot lined up and they're misaligned in the defense. And that's exactly what happened there.
Russell put one in the hands of Davion Hall, but he could not haul it in. And it'll bring up 2nd and 10.
You expect to get a lot more targets to Davion Hall. Last week, he actually led the team with 7 catches. So I know KD has been spotlighted tonight, but I expect Davion to get a lot more touches.
And they quickly sling it out in his direction. This time he makes good on the catch. Chase Collins on the stop. Hall, a true freshman out of Texarkana. Graduated high school early. Graduated in December so he can enroll at Baylor and take part in spring practice. And this one is lobbed over the head of Jefferson coming out of the backfield. And well out of his reach from Seth Russell, who started the day 5 for 6 through the air. And now with a couple of incomplete passes to add to that, 7 for 10. So we'll see the punting unit for the very first time, as Ed Egan is awaiting the punt from Spencer Roth. 4th-year starter at punter is Roth. Knoxville, Tennessee led the Big 12 last year with his punts nearly 46 yards on average, and this is a good one. A fair catch inside the 15-yard line as we check in with Christian Steckel.
Guys, how times have changed here in Waco. The alumni returning here these days sometimes have to stop and look around and make sure they are at the right school, with a bare motto of river-faring fans now making their way to McLean Stadium in pontoons, sailboats, kayaks, even a green and gold paddle boat. Baylor's now a place that the fans can reach the stadium in a number of ways. It's a far cry from the days when the players themselves had to hitch a ride to the campus stadium that was miles away. All 18 boat slips are on site lease for the season. However, I got to tell you, fans docking their boats along the flood wall are having some fun out there today.
They let Christian not only drive their boat, but operate their grill.
I know. I wanted his job this afternoon.
By the way, the boat he was on, the name of the boat, the Bare Necessity. Still out there, cruising around. So if we're looking for Christian later, he's probably...
Man, what a special place to build it right next to the river. Students, people have access to tailgate on their boats. I mean, you can't do that at any other university. So they've really got it right with the design of this stadium, the canopies to keep it cool, and just the location right here on campus, right next to the river. It's beautiful.
5 receivers spread out, including the running back, Matthew Flores. And this catch is made by Cody Jones. The junior converted from running back last year. He gets 5 yards, and it is 3rd and short.
And you see how quickly you have to get the ball out against this defense. That's what it's designed to do. Tonight, they've been pressuring a little bit, bringing a 5th guy. Hager came off the edge again. But you got to be buttoned up. Receivers have to get off the jam and create some space, so it allows that quarterback to have some sort of a window to throw to, usually with somebody in his face.
Out of the shotgun on 3rd and 2. Is Atkins, the option. Flores didn't get it. Swarming to the ball, Bryce Hager, Trevon Blanchard.
Tackle on the play by Bryce Hager and Trevon Blanchard.
And so what a job by that Baylor defense again. Hager. Banks of the Brazos River here in Waco, Texas. A beautiful scene, a beautiful venue. The brand new McLean Stadium opened up last week. Robert Griffin III, his statue sits right outside, as he was a big part of the reason why this football team has attracted so much attention and so much funding to get this stadium here built. With Ben Lieber, I'm Brendan Birkin. Ben, we got pretty much what we expected in the first half. Dominance from a dominant team in the Baylor Bears.
It's yesterday when we talked to him, he was very nervous and he was anxious about this game because, and rightfully so, your starting quarterback is out. You've got 4 receivers out. So he didn't know what he was going to see. You know, he knows what he sees in practice, but he doesn't know what he's going to see in the game situation. And he didn't know what he had in Seth Russell as well. I think you can put all that anxiety to bed because this offense and the way they've executed tonight, it's been very, very impressive.
Another short week as well. They play Friday in Buffalo to get Bryce Petty back. Looking at the scoring drives that we've seen here today, they haven't taken very long. 6 of those 7 drives were 91 seconds or less, and the 6 that took 91 seconds or less didn't equal the 1 drive, the 16-play drive that took 6:05 to get it.
Well, that's what I'm talking about right there. This offense is so potent because it can strike and hit you early and explode on you with outside receivers and very dynamic type of playmakers on the outside and the receivers. But you look at the 16 plays, they can also grind it on you. They want you to know that they're more than just a passing team. They can run this football. They're physical up front. So they can hit you in a variety of ways in 1 to 2 plays or in a 16-play drive.
They expanded that drive by running on 4th down and picking up a first down. Our Academy Sports Right Stuff key player first half, no doubt, KD Cannon.
Well, no doubt. I mean, you could give it to Seth Russell, but KD has shown that he can go back and make catches, tough catches, jumping up with great body control. The thing I love watching him so far, he's so silky smooth when he runs. He runs like a polished receiver already. And keep in mind, he was just in high school last year, so a young kid still going to develop. Obviously, he's not going to miss those hands. He's only going to get better from here on out.
3 touchdowns first half. He had them all in the first quarter. Let's go down to Christian Steckel.
Well, guys, I had a chance to talk with Northwestern State head coach Jay Thomas, and I said, what do you say to your team down 49-3 that? He said, look, we just got to clean up some mistakes, especially in the secondary, but I was proud of our guys. They played really hard. And then I asked him, Coach, simply this, Have you ever seen a team as fast as Baylor? He looked at me and said, Christian, they're really fast.
Well, we talked about, just the depth they have now really on both sides of the football. Xavier Howard, a corner on the defensive side, extremely fast. A lot of depth there. You can see it in our defensive line. But we talk about it. I mean, it's the thing with Northwestern State that they have the rude awakening when they come in this building is you can't replicate this speed on your own team. You can have your scout guys give you all the looks you want, trying to go a play every 12 seconds, trying to show the design of this offense, but you can't replicate the speed. And unfortunately for some of these corners, they're getting a first-hand look at how fast these guys are.
Ed Egan awaits the kick as Northwestern State had won the toss initially and deferred to the second half. And Egan dips his way to the 20-yard line before being driven back. And we'll see what Northwestern State can do on offense. They had one drive where they got down into the red zone. They wound up settling for a field goal because Baylor dialed it up a notch on third down and were able to keep them out of the end zone. But we'll see what they can do here. Our Academy Sports Right Stuff key player for Northwestern State is that man, the receiver, Ed Egan.
Well, he's a guy out here that, he's actually flashed and shown a lot of great plays. On the drive where they went down and got 3 points, he had one catch where he made a bunch of guys miss, showed some shiftiness. Another couple plays down the road, made a great catch on was Xavier Howard draped all over him. So far tonight, offensively for Northwestern State, he's the guy that's sparkling and shining. And it's hard to find those plays when you're down 49-3, but he's a bright spot in this offense.
He is the only Demon receiver with multiple receptions. In today's game, there have only been 4 players that have made a catch from Zach Atkins, who's 5 for 14 after that incomplete pass to Cody Jones. Corey Simmons, the tight end, brought in as an extra blocker. Garrett Atzenweiler in the backfield with Atkins. It is Atzenweiler right up the gut. And he ran into Jamal Palmer, 3 yards. And it'll bring up 3rd and long.
Well, I talked about Xavier Howard on the edge, locking down receivers, but on that particular play, he was on what we call the nub side, where there's no receiver. He was snug up against the line of scrimmage on the edge and just came off the corner, did a really nice job of beating the block and coming inside and making a tackle. So this young corner, he can tackle, he can cover guys, great fluidity with his hips when he turns and runs. So another defensive guy to watch.
That is the center, Austin Douglas, down on the field for Northwestern State, a senior who started his collegiate career at Northwest Mississippi Community College, went to Ole Miss, and then came to Northwestern State last August. But the center, Ben, if you're going to lose a guy on the offensive line, that's a tough one to have go down.
Well, it's always tough. I mean, basically in every offense, the center is the quarterback per se of the offensive line. Usually you're setting protections. Everything runs off of what you say and how you say it. And so to lose a guy like him, we'll see possibly Thomas Little, number 62, coming in to back him up. But obviously a big blow if you're going to lose your center.
It is Little out onto the field. He is not little. 318 pounds, 6'1". Just a sophomore taking over for Austin Douglas on 3rd and long. Atkins running out of time, and he's hauled down by Andrew Billings. The big man came in a hurry and was riding the back of Zach Atkins. 9 sacks last week for the Baylor defensive front. That tied a school record dating back to 1983.
Well, they can hurt you with the straight up rush, but they also run stunts and twists, and that's what happened there. Starts out right over the center. You get the left defensive end to crash on the inside to wash everything down, and all he's got to do is take a side step to the left and loop around, and there's nobody there to block him.
High punt that Spangler will handle right at midfield. It is just a 36-yard punt from Andy Wickman, and Baylor will have pretty good field position here on this possession. Let's take a look at our Whataburger, What a Player. Seth Russell, your quarterback. No, 437 yards, no big deal.
I mean, if Art Briles was a little nervous about what he was going to do and how he's going to play, I tell you what, I mean, you can't get much better than that. That is super impressive, and he showed a lot with his arm, the way he can control that huddle, rally that team, and he throws a great deep ball. And they've seen enough out of him.
437 is enough.
They've seen quite enough out of him. We're going to see what Chris Johnson's all about.
Johnson hands the ball off to Johnny Jefferson in his first play from scrimmage. David Metcalf on the stop. So you have your starting quarterback last week play one half, was injured. Probably if he wasn't, still wouldn't have played the second half. You bring in Seth Russell to play the second half. And now this week you have to start Seth Russell because of an injury. He plays the first half, then you bring in the third string, and today the backup, Chris Johnson. As he handed the ball to Johnny Jefferson, who has himself a first down, courtesy of a 12-yard run. Good block from Blake Muir on the play.
I have a suspicion that because of his skill set, he's more of that true dual threat type of quarterback. Because of the score, because of what he can do, you're going to see a lot more running here by this Baylor offense in the second half.
A lot more running from Johnny Jefferson right now. Adam Jones with Darius Sellers on the tackle, but Johnny Jefferson made his collegiate debut last week. He's a redshirt freshman. And Briles said they really trust his ability and the spark that he can provide. Spelling shock Linwood, really complimenting him in their running game. No gain on this play. But you mentioned Chris Johnson and his ability to be a dual threat. His high school team for his first 3 years ran the triple option. They switched to a spread offense as a senior, so he's gotten both. He's got the running offense, and he's also gotten to air it out a little bit. Give us to Jefferson again. And he's got himself a first down on 3rd and 1. Tyler Roussel made the tackle. Chris Johnson, a redshirt freshman, but he has participated in 2 springs. I mentioned those numbers, airing it out. Threw for 1,724 yards and 10 touchdowns. As a senior, 165 yards and 65 carries as well. Johnny Jefferson, another run, but a nice tackle. Marion Chapman swiped out his feet from underneath him after a 7-yard gain.
Yeah, Chapman really actually did a really nice job of taking on a offensive lineman up in his face, using his hands and his face to get off the block, and made a nice little lateral tackle there.
Johnson and Jefferson still in the backfield. Everybody looking to the sideline. You see a rare instance where Baylor has slowed down. They've really slowed down. They got to hurry to get the play off. That you don't see very often, but they do get it off. And it's Jefferson with a stiff arm, and he got to the sideline, knocked out right at the sticks. Amon Claiborne, who we haven't talked about a whole lot here tonight. Maybe expected to see him or call his name a little bit more. He made the tackle there.
You know, I don't know if it was by design or not, but you bring up Amon Claiborne, number 18, probably the best defender that they have for Northwestern State. They threw away from him. You know, they had so much success against Fred Thomas. Brian Joseph at times was coming over to play corner in that nickel position. And there's not a whole lot of action for Claiborne. So unfortunate for us. I mean, I was excited to see how he play against these top-notch receivers, but they really didn't target him too much.
Claiborne had an interception last week. He was voted the team captain of this team. His first year of football was his freshman year of high school. Never really got into football until then. And a great story in yesterday's paper here in Waco, actually, about his mom, Stephanie, and how much he means to her and how much she wanted to support her son. She is scheduled to undergo a surgical heart procedure, which she has delayed until after the football season so that she can be there to see her son and support her son throughout the football season.
Well, just an incredible story. I mean, obviously I love hearing about, especially at the collegiate level, where these guys come from. Sometimes they have to come from, you know, really bad environments, and they just get brought up, get nurtured in college, and get an education. And it's great to see these young men. You know, you brought up the fact that, you know, he only played 1 year of high school football. I think that's the very interesting thing about football in and of itself, is you don't have to play for 10 years as a Pop Warner kid to become, you know, get a college scholarship. So
that's the unique thing is you can play 1 or 2 years of high school football. If you show the talent and the skill and really, to me, the desire and the want to play, somebody's going to pick you up and give you a chance in college and hopefully give you a free education.
Adam Jones made the tackle, the returning leading tackler for Northwestern State on that last play. Johnny Jefferson now has 8 rushes on this drive alone, as it has pretty much been his drive, as we've yet to see Chris Johnson throw the football. And why switch things up? They give it to Jefferson straight ahead, and he's inside the 5. They need to get down to about the 1-yard line for a first down, but they didn't quite get there, so it'll be 3rd and short here.
Well, that was all on the offensive line as well. The guys on the left side, they just pushed the whole pile, and he didn't have to do too much.
Jefferson puts his head down, and he's into the end zone. Johnny Jefferson with his first career collegiate touchdown.
Well, it was all about establishing the run in the second half. Does a great job of just lowering his shoulder on Paxton Cook there, the linebacker. And that's what you want to see out of the young running back. Give him the ball, see how he can play, using his vision, using his feet. We know that with this kid that he can run. He's very fluid, but that right there shows the coaches that he's willing to put his shoulder down and use those powerful legs as well to get in the end zone.
56-3 our score as Johnny Jefferson all the way down the field. The Baylor Bears are up big. 2014 Baylor football is presented by HEB. A beautiful campus here in Waco. You see that building off there with the 2013 Big 12 champions. That's the indoor practice facility. The goalpost, you see the outdoor practice facility. Off in the distance that you cannot see, the baseball field, the softball field, the tennis center.
If you're a high school recruit and you come on this campus, my goodness, it's going to be hard to go to any other place in the Big 12 and find better facilities.
Score is 56-3. Ed Egan's going to have a chance to run with this one as he picks it up at the 6-yard line and goes back across the field and ran into his own man. Now he's coming back through the middle. Gets a few more yards. He's up across the 25 as Egan finally taken down by Raekwon Davis. 21 yards. Johnny Jefferson on that last drive was the entire drive. 11 plays, 49 yards, took 3 minutes and 38 seconds, and he had every single carry on that drive.
Well, he talked about last week when he got in the football game. You know, really, it's kind of been 2 years almost by the time he redshirted, gets back on the field. He said he was nervous. You know, he didn't know what to expect, had some anxiety, you know, just wanted to go out and kind of prove to everybody, you know, his worth, the scholarship, and all the high accolades. And so, you know, they're getting a chance tonight because of the score and the situation. He's going to get a lot of touches. I'm sure that anxiety's gone. Now he's just ready to make some plays, and he did on 11 carries, and punched in the end zone.
Ronald Green with the run here on 2nd and 9. And we had an interesting conversation with Art Briles yesterday about how great this facility is. There's no denying how impressive it is with the $262 million facility. And we kind of had the idea, hey, you now have a leg up on everybody in the Big 12. He saw it differently. As Atkins to throw here, and it is complete to Tough McClain. They're having a tough time bringing him down. No pun intended there, but Ben, his take was that, hey, now we're even. Now we're where everybody else is. We can compete now with Texas, with Texas Tech, with the tough programs in the Big 12. We're not ahead of them. We're where we should be now.
Well, and unfortunately, that's what it's come to in all of college athletics is, you know, it's the pizzazz. It's what, you know, all the flash and the apparel and all this other stuff. And, you know, I think you need good facilities for these kids, but sometimes it's too much. But that's what it is now. And now Baylor having an off-campus stadium in Floyd Casey. They build this brand new stadium, and he's right. Now they're really just on par. They're not above those guys. Now they're just on par when they bring high school kids in that it feels like a Texas. It feels like a Texas Tech. It feels like TCU, Oklahoma.
So those kids aren't wild when they go to someplace else. And then you can start looking at, all right, what's this team going to offer me? Can I play right away? Are they going to be successful? What type of education am I going to get? So those are the things that he's talking about, is finally they're on an even playing field. And if it comes down to just success of the team, he's built this football team to last. On their depth chart right now, they only have 7 seniors. So you talk about this team going forward, they've got the athletes and they've got the youth.
Here's a look at McLean Stadium. This is what $262 million to get you here in Waco, Texas. Unbelievable as they put this together. And Ben, we've talked about it. It's almost more impressive when you compare it to where they played last year, when they won the Big 12 championship, the facility that they had, the field they had. And this is what it looks like here tonight. Right on the banks of the Brazos River. Sailgating, as they call it, with the boat out. And people just having the party atmosphere, and inside just a tough atmosphere to play in, and that's what they want to create here. And Art Browse is very excited about what they have the ability to do with their fans, with their traditions in this stadium, putting it all together and watching it come to life. He got a glimpse of it last week against SMU, and as the Big 12 schedule starts, this place is going to be a nice safe haven for the Baylor Bears.
You know, and I know coaches, they never gain that perspective because there's so much in the moment. We talk about having blinders on and just, you know, what they have to do today to get better for tomorrow and et cetera, et cetera. He doesn't have the time to look back and reflect that, like, man, so look at where we've come from. You know, like you said, the old stadium. I mean, years ago when I played against them, they were basically an afterthought football team in the Big 12 in the late 90s. Now RG3 comes in, Art Briles comes in, this new attitude comes in. They've got this stadium, they've got new traditions. Hopefully one of these days, you know, and hopefully for Art Briles, it's many years down the road, he can sit back, get some perspective on what he's built here, because it's awfully impressive.
KJ Smith with the sack there for Baylor that forces a 3rd and 11 for Zach Adkins. What's left of the crowd getting into it. And a poorly thrown ball from Adkins. And it'll bring up 4th down. And Northwestern State will have to punt again.
Well, it's so hard again with this defense because they're so fast and so aggressive and really very well coached that, you know, an easy screen pass that you'd think would be a high percentage throw even gets gobbled up because of so much penetration, just as we saw on that last play by the defensive line. So a high percentage play like a screen pass, which is a great call on 3rd down, you can't even get that to work.
Flags come in before the ball is snapped.
A false start by number 58 of the offense. A 5-yard penalty, and it's still 4th down.
We'll back him up a little more as Paxton Cook is the guilty party. As Spangler awaits the football from Andy Wickman. High but short punt, fair catch signaled for, and he got barreled into. And the ball has squirted free, and Northwestern State has it. And they signal Demon football. Chris Deaver Jr. comes up with the football as he called for a fair catch, but they say his own men blocked him into contact. And the ball came loose, and Northwestern State gets some good field position out of it. There's the block. The Demons have the football.
Well, and that's the risk you have to take. I don't even know if I'd call it risky. I mean, you're down by 53 points, so why not try a double pass to the quarterback and see if that'll work? Nothing else seems to be working. Nice play call, caught them off guard. Got some younger players in there on defense for Baylor, playing a little bit undisciplined, and they caught them.
Ben Norton said he was going to reach back into some old playbooks for something to try and generate offense against Baylor. 2 yards for Matthew Flores, who didn't throw the ball to anybody this time. That'll bring up 2nd down as we see Northwestern State threatening for just the 2nd time tonight. The first time they really threatened, they wound up with 3 points on a 25-yard field goal.
Well, and that drive was more so throwing the football and a better mix of run and pass. So if they want to get a touchdown here, I expect them to start throwing the football because it's hard to run against this defense.
Remember, this is all coming off a erratic punt. As the run stopped right around the 11-yard line after a 2-yard gain. Taylor Young on the stop on Matthew Flores. See Ben Norton, the offensive coordinator, on the right-hand side of your screen. Second season, first as the offensive coordinator. Last year was just the offensive line coach, and this is really the second season under this coaching regime.
And talk about a tough task that he had this whole week preparing for this defense, because they've gotten so much better up front. You had a lot of challenges. Can your guys on the outside win those one-on-one matchups? And more importantly, can you win the battle in the trenches?
On 3rd and 6, they're looking end zone. Jump ball punched up in the air. Caught but out of bounds by Tough McLean. A nice job by Terrence Singleton in coverage. And give credit for hauling it in for McLean, but not in bounds.
So far, these corners all night have really been in great position. You'd like him at that point to maybe turn the other way and pin his back to the receiver. That way you give your chance to make a play on the football. But nonetheless, great play by Singleton because of his body position.
This will be a 28-yard try for Chris Moore, who was 2 for 3 last week, all from 40+. And this one goes right through. And Northwestern State has their second field goal. Second time they have put points on the board. The lead for Baylor here late in the 3rd quarter at a nice even 50 for Art Briles. Something to cheer about for Northwestern State as they get their second field goal of the night. Baylor's lead is 56-6. The man responsible for all those points, Chris Moore, will kick this one off. See, that 7-play drive only took them 19 yards and had to settle for a field goal. Caleb Moore is back to receive for the Baylor Bears. He is not their normal kick returner. Johnny Jefferson, Lynx Hawthorne, Antoine Goodley, all what you would consider their normal kick returners. Caleb Moore, well, this one won't even reach him. A short kick, and Baylor will start from there. Still 2.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter here in Waco. Baylor with a 56-6 lead, and now the football back again. As they take this one from their own 10-yard line, the first carry of the game. First series for Silas Nasita, a junior transfer from Cornell. He had 6 carries last week. This one goes for 6 on his first touch.
Well, so far, Chris Johnson, the 3rd-string quarterback, been in for 12 plays. Hand the ball off 12 times. I want to see what this kid can do running with the football.
Handed off 11 times in the last drive, and they got a touchdown out of it. All to Johnny Jefferson. I guess after 11 consecutive rushes, gets the series off. Jefferson, 20 rushes, 107 yards, and a touchdown tonight. Hey, at least he faked the pass that time. As Nasita gets the carry again and picks up the first down. 8 yards on that carry. Chase Collins finally with the stop.
You gotta love the burst so far of Nasita. Again, you talk about depth with this team. Even at the running back position, you've got guys that can get the ball and really run.
So a fresh set of downs here, and we will see a pass. They set it up for Quan Jones. He tries to spin off a hit. Just a yard for Quan Jones, and a flag comes in here with the contact on the sideline. Jones is the 6th receiver for Baylor to catch a pass here today. Joins K.D. Cannon Davion Hall, Jay Lee, Shock Linwood, and Lynx Hawthorne.
After the play, personal foul, a late hit out of bounds by number 58 of the defense. The 15-yard penalty, and it's first down.
It's Paxton Cook again.
And Paxton so far has kind of made himself known. Unfortunately, got the wrong end of the run by Johnny Jefferson in the end zone. Had a great play on special teams to cause that fumble. And he comes back with another play where he's going to get an earful from the coach, I believe, for just making a dumb penalty by hitting the guy late out of bounds.
So Baylor started at the 10. They're now at the 40. And he passes complete out across the 50-yard line for Furbacher.
Chris Johnson's pass.
Actually, they give him 9 yards here on first down. Goes to the Cita again. And this time it is a first down. True freshman Josh Roberts on the tackle. As Baylor is starting to bring in some more young players. We've seen Nasita, who is a junior transfer, but the previous play, a catch to the tight end, Jordan Furbacher, who is a true freshman out of Kingwood, Texas, in Kingwood Park High School. 6'4", 250 pounds. The freshman, or excuse me, the tight end position. Something that they didn't have here today. Trayvon Armstead banged up, and we did see him on the field, but he was not involved really in any of the plays, as that last play will be the end of the third quarter. 56-6 is the score, with Baylor all over Northwestern State here in the second game of the season for Baylor, and the second game in their beautiful new stadium. Plenty of contributors. Seth Russell, no problem in the absence of Bryce Petty. Three quarters complete, 613 yards of total offense for Baylor. Looking for more as they turn it around. Still on the right side of the 50-yard line. 56-6 lead. Chris Johnson, the backup to Seth Russell today, who is in the place of injured Bryce Petty. He was in street clothes today after cracking 2 bones in his back a week ago. Less than a week ago on Sunday in the opener against SMU. Silas Nasita again, taking a couple of demons with him. Wadarius Sellers finally able to drag him down to the turf. And a 10-yard pickup and a first down for Baylor.
I like what I see out of Nasita. He gets that ball and just doesn't make any hesitation about where he wants to go. Just gets straight downhill, breaking arm tackles. Right before the end of the third quarter, he actually got a little too antsy and didn't read his blocks, or he could have had much more yardage on the left side there. But I know he's excited to be in this football game. He's got to use his vision a little bit better as far as that last play I was talking about, but he's looked real nice running this ball.
And it is the quarterback, Chris Johnson, a few elusive moves, and takes a hit and gets a few extra yards as he dives forward for another first down. 11 yards for Chris Johnson. 2014 Baylor football is presented by HEB. Inside the fourth quarter, Brendan Burke with Ben Lieber and Christian Steckel. Baylor up by 50. Allowed a couple of field goals. They had a 28-0 lead after the first quarter. And they have cruised from there. Is the redshirt freshman Chris Johnson now as the quarterback. Dunks it off to Furbacher, puts his head down. Took a couple of hits. The last one delivered by Marion Chapman, 5 yards. Baylor continues to move the ball. Maybe not going for the big plays like we saw earlier, but slowly and steadily they have rushed the football, short passes, and continue to work their way down the field.
Well, that's the way this offense is built. Again, they talk about this Baylor spread offense. They're not the air raid. They don't want to be considered the air raid type of offense. They're spread and they're fast, and that's about it. They also want you to know that they're physical. So that's the way these guys are built. They can score in 1 or 2 plays, hit you over the top, but they can also grind the football down using their big, strong offensive linemen. This read option that they run very, very well. Every quarterback is making the right decision on whether to hand the ball off or keep it himself. So they're a tough matchup because of all the different ways they can attack you. And again, they're built to have a lead and just grind the football out, grind that clock down, and don't give the opposing offense any time to ever come back.
Well, and you mentioned those big, strong offensive line, and case in point, that last run by Nasita, he just waltzed right through the line, and it wasn't until a linebacker dragged him down that he had actual contact.
And on the Johnny Jefferson touchdown that we saw towards the end of the third quarter is a little bit of the same thing. A couple inside runs.
Touchdown Baylor. Had a tough time getting the ball secured, but when he did, he went 11 yards for the touchdown. Silas Nasita. Second week in a row, he has carried the ball into the end zone.
And it's only fitting that we were talking about the offensive line and Johnny Jefferson's touchdown. But check it out here in the replay. Offensive line is doing a great job. Look at that hole. I mean, he doesn't get touched until he's at the goal line. So you can't say enough good things about not only the starting offensive line, getting the quarterback time to throw the football, but basically when they run the ball, these running backs are not getting touched until 2, 3, 4 yards down the field. And in this case, he didn't get touched until he got to the end zone.
Kyler Peterson with the extra point. Somebody forgot to tell Chris Callahan he was going out there. They had 2 kickers on the field for the point after. Silas Nasita, 11 yards, touchdown, 63-6 Baylor. Here in a land known for its riches in the ground, points have been coming in the air. Can you dig it? At Baylor, they can throw it. Defenses seem to be MIA as the Bears go to the AIR. Broken scoreboards and busted records. You want scoring? Start counting. More than 50 on the board 7 times last year. 4 of those were for 70-plus, for goodness sake. They spread the field and push the pace, protect the pocket, and chuck the rock. Baylor, downright offensive. And if you've been counting tonight, 63 points put on the board. Still 12.5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Ronald Green to run this one back for Northwestern State. And a nice tackle right at the 15-yard line. Made by Baylor's Kyle Fuller. Excuse me, Baylor Black made the tackle. Well, the Baylor Bears are in the Big 12, and there have been so many conversations about the Big 12 moving forward into the new era.
33 of the kicking team, a 5-yard penalty, and it's first down.
But here you look at the Big 12 non-conference Power 5 opponents. Baylor doesn't have any, Ben. The other Big 12 schools, they've got somebody. Baylor is playing Northwestern State here tonight.
Well, and you look at the criteria to get in one of the top 4 as far as the playoff goes. And no, you don't have a non-conference, a big-time non-conference Power 5 opponent. But because of the Big 12 and the way it's formatted, they're going to play every team in a round-robin format. So they have 9 times they're going to play against basically a Power 5 team. So if you look at, if K-State goes out and beats Auburn, their strength of schedule goes up. Baylor has to play K-State because you have to play everybody. So yes, you can make the argument that it's going to hurt them in a team like this, in a situation like this, but they're going to play every one of those Big 12 teams. And if those teams beat the other Power 5, Big 5 opponent, that's only going to help Baylor out if they beat them. So yeah, I can see the argument, but until it plays out, and if Baylor goes and sweeps out the Big 12, then no doubt they're going to be a top 4 team and actually be right there as far as a favorite in the national title game.
Northwestern State opted for a re-kick after the offsides penalty. Proved to be a pretty good decision. There isn't a flag on this play, as well as Ed Egan, who didn't run back the previous kick, got onto the field and takes this one back 41 yards. Baylor had massive confusion before that kick. Quan Jones was on the far sideline, thought he was an extra man, came sprinting towards the near sideline. He wasn't
An
extra.
formation by the kicking team, the 5-yard penalty, and it's first down.
So he just lined up somewhere near the Baylor sideline, figuring, hey, let's kick the ball because the time was running down on the play clock. And, well, 2 penalties. Finally, they get the ball where it belongs. And after all is said and done, it winds up on the Baylor half of the field.
Well, those are the things that, even though the score is what it is, still drives you nuts as a coach, because it's just undisciplined stuff. It's guys not thinking, probably coaches on the sidelines not getting the right players out there and not aware of the situation. So, you know, it's not going to hurt them here, obviously, but coaches look at everything. They very rarely actually look at the positives because they want to fix the negatives. And, you know, in a game like this where you have to play all 4 quarters, you know, you got to have your guys into the game, mentally into the game, coaches mentally into the game. So I'm sure that's something he'll bring up with these players in the post game tonight and tomorrow.
Ronald Green with the carry there. Bring up 2nd and long. For Green. Baylor next week plays at Buffalo on Friday. So the opening of the schedule for Baylor is 3 games in 13 days. They played Sunday, Saturday, Friday. Now it's against SMU, Northwestern State, and Buffalo, and they have an off week to follow. But take a look at the remaining schedule for Baylor. They open up Big 12 play at Iowa State. They go to Texas. They finally come home for a game against TCU. So after today, October 11th is their next home game against TCU.
Well, obviously tough for them because they played last Sunday. 6 days they're playing tonight. 6 more days they get on a plane, go to Buffalo, and then they have 2 more road games after that. So I can understand why Art Briles yesterday, when he said he was nervous about this game because there's so much excitement to open up the stadium last Sunday night that he's worried about that letdown effect. The guys maybe don't take this game as serious, and then you get to this game and you worry about, are the guys looking forward to the game next week because it's such a quick turnaround, and basically on day 5 you're jumping on an airplane and traveling to Buffalo. So obviously nothing to worry about tonight. 63-6. The offense and defenses look fantastic, but early in November, if they keep ticking off these wins, that game against OU is going to be fantastic. Something I hope that both teams are undefeated going into.
And then after that, they have to close the season out against Kansas State. Another Big 12 matchup, but you're right, you have to get through OU to make that work. And this kick is straight in the air. Just straight up and out of bounds. We'll see where they mark it, but just an awful punt that time from Andy Wickman. It's been a rough night for the Demons in all phases. College football on Fox Sports is presented by the Department of Health, Human Performance, and Recreation as nationally recognized preventative medicine programs. Check out Baylor.edu/HHPR. By Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. And by your local Ford dealer. Visit your local Ford dealer now for great deals during the Built Ford Tough sales event. A beautiful night here in Waco as the moon lights up the Brazos River. Baylor lighting up the scoreboard, and oh boy, here they go again. Silas Nasita across the 35 with a 63-point night so far, 22 more yards for Nasita.
Well, again, I can't stress enough this offensive line. Laquan McGowan led the way 10 yards down the field, staying on his man, which allowed Nasita to pick up those huge chunks on a big play. But I tell you what, man, these guys, it doesn't matter if they're first team, second team, third team. They're big, they're physical, they play with an attitude. These guys are rough.
They give us to Nasita again, and nowhere for him to go. You mentioned Laquan McGowan, 6'7", 390 pounds. He can run, and even for guys on the offensive line who are big individuals, keep that in mind. They say if he steps in front of you at line for food, you say, hey, big fella, you go right ahead. Go ahead.
Well, look at that box out ability he has. All he's got to do is throw that hip into you, and hey, man, you got it. This is your line.
always pick up the scraps.
Boy, that's a big guy.
That's a big man. That's a big man moving too.
Yeah, he can run.
He came pulling around the edge there, locked onto the defender, and he didn't let go.
2nd and 10. It is Nasita. He's got himself another hole. Takes a hard hit. Paid the price, but he gets a fresh set of downs for the Bears. Lynn Clark with the stop after 11-yard pickup for Nasita.
Unfortunately, I think number 73, Josh Roberts, took the bad end of the hit on that as he's still down in the field.
Roberts, true freshman. And a first-team All-State here in the state of Texas in high school last year. And he is in some pain. Made 1 tackle last week. 6'4", 310. His nickname is Big Baby, which is not a knock on his toughness, but more some fun with his physical attributes. He gets up and walks off the field.
It's good to see him get up because on that tackle, the safety come up, and I actually think the safety unloaded on him and just happened to tackle the guy.
First and 10 for Baylor, who for a while rode Johnny Jefferson, got him out of the game, and now they've been riding Silas Nasita, and now he comes out of the game. Baylor Black, he's in the backfield, listed as a linebacker on the roster, but he is back there to the left of Chris Johnson. Cal Spangler in motion, and with time running out on the play clock, a flag is thrown from the officials running in.
A false start by number 60 of the offense. The 5-yard penalty, and it's still first down.
It's our guy.
We can't hold the big guy in that stance for that long. I mean, I know you want to run the clock down, but these big men, when you're 390 pounds, man, you can't stay in that stance for too long. You just got to, hey, man, I need to take a break. I'll just go ahead and take this 5 yards and get back to the huddle, and my thighs are burning a little bit.
The give is to Black, and a nice tackle in a hurry that time by Northwestern State's Roderick Ross. A safety into the game. You see Block running off the field. And they get Nasita back out there. Give a carry to the linebacker and get him off the field. Nasita is, by virtue of Devin Chafin missing tonight's game with an injury, he's really the last guy listed on their depth chart. So you're not going to burn a red shirt for one play so a guy can come in and run the football. So get a linebacker to come in, and they get Nasita right back out there, and he knifes his way across the 20, driven back, continues forward, and another good run by Silas Nasita. 9-yard pickup. Tyler Roussel on the stop.
Well, check this out once again. They pull the tight end from the backfield, and this is just all effort. Nasita only gets a few touches here and there in some of these games, and like you said, the last guy listed on the depth chart as far as running backs go, but showing that he's fully capable of running the rock extremely hard, showed great vision, good lateral movement, some toughness. So depth all around the board on this offense.
10 rushes for 87 yards and a touchdown for Nasita. And on 3rd and 5. Could not get there. It'll bring up 4th down. Lynn Clark, Adam Jones making the tackle. Jones, preseason All-Southland Conference.
And why not go for it, I guess?
Well, I think there's a few reasons. The scorer being one of them. Obviously, Baylor is not taking their foot off the gas. They may be changing personnel, but they are continuing to move the football. It's their second try on 4th down tonight. They are 1 for 1 already. Give it to Nasita again. He takes some players with him, and he's got himself a first down.
I think what you do now is you get down close to the end zone and you bring the linebacker back in to get him a touchdown.
Why not? I mean, I know, Ben, there were some people that were not happy with the way Art Briles and the Baylor staff handled the end of the first half. All big already, calling touchdowns late to get the ball back, and then punched it in the end zone once more for a 49-3 lead at halftime.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, you know, I could look at it one of two ways. You want to stay in your mode of operation through the first half. So you want to work on your clock management skills, all the things outside of the X's and O's, just kind of game management situations as you kind of get into the conference play next week, or in 2 weeks here. But, you know, I think if you had to do it all over again, you wouldn't call a timeout. You obviously know you're overmatching this FCS team. You know, you just kind of let the clock run out and get into halftime, and then play some of your reserves after that. But, you know, I can defend it either way.
Baylor now over 700 yards of offense, 713. Knocking on the door for 70. They've slowed their pace down to a crawl. Nasita is into a full sprint to the end zone. Another rushing touchdown for Silas Nasita. And Baylor is up 69-6.
And I know that you could see it a little bit already in the end of the third quarter, early in the fourth. I mean, this defense for Northwestern State, they've been on the field a long time in the second half. Obviously, they knew they were going to lose. They're getting overmatched on the lines and the trenches. And that was just another example on that run where they're just beat down. They're worn down by this big offensive line. So they're just waiting to get these last few minutes out and go back home.
Baylor hangs up 70 on the Northwestern State Demons. 2 rushing touchdowns belong to Silas Nasita. Our Browns, the happy man tonight. Football on Fox Sports is presented by the Department of Health, Human Performance, and Recreation as nationally recognized preventative medicine programs. Check out Baylor.edu/HHPR. By Whataburger. Get your day started at Whataburger with the new jalapeno cheddar biscuit. And 2014 Baylor football is presented by HEB. Baylor 70-6 over Northwestern State after the Silas Nasita touchdown. His second of the game is the only Baylor Bear with 2 rushing touchdowns. Shock Linwood has 1. Johnny Jefferson also with 1. This is Ed Egan trying to find a way. Got a good block, and he splits through, tries to cut back, and he's finally wrestled down just shy of the 45-yard line. Ed Egan has had some good runs today. Still, Northwestern State unable to get into the end zone. Baylor up big, and there is a look at Colin Simpson, senior defensive back at Baylor, who was part of a team of students whose campaign was chosen as the winner of a marketing competition. When Fox Sports Southwest and Baylor teamed up last fall to engage students in a real-life marketing and sponsorship project through the unique Fox Sports University program developed by Fox to connect creativity with education. The national program involves students from prestigious universities across the country who receive real-life marketing and advertising experience through a competition-style class. For more information on Fox Sports University, please visit foxsportsuniversity.com. Baylor leads by 64, and thought Simpson may be going out onto the field there. 2nd and 6 for Northwestern State.
Come on, coach, get him out there. He's strapped up, ready to go.
Thought he was heading out for that kickoff. He did not. Ronald Green in the backfield with Daniel Hazel. And it is Green bouncing to the outside. Good stiff arm, but hanging on. Dragging him down was Tion Sells. Maybe the 4th quarter, maybe late, but here's some high energy for you. It's the TXU energy. High energy play of the game.
Well, and I've talked about it all game, and I can't stress it enough. Seth Russell came out of this ball game and really just showed what he's all about. Looked comfortable, threw from a great pocket, obviously credit to the offensive line, but when you've got KD Cannon, Davion Hall out on the outside, all you've got to do is just put some air on the ball, with a little bit of touch, and have those guys run underneath it. He did that a number of times tonight. And the receivers that sometimes bailed him out on some short, higher throws, showing off their athletic ability. But it's been fun, especially early in the game, to watch these young receivers and this young quarterback work together, something that they've been doing all throughout preseason, but nice to see how they can do it in an actual ball game.
Inside the final 2.5 minutes here is Daniel Hazelwood. Sophomore took over for the senior Zach Atkins here in the second half. They give to Ronald Green, who had a scholarship offer to Cincinnati. Had some issues getting his test scores in on time and winds up a member of the Northwestern State Demons. So he's a guy that they feel can play with the likes of Baylor. And there are a number of players that have transferred here to the FCS level for various reasons. Wanted to be closer to home. Didn't work out for the playing time they wanted at school and just wanted to play college football. There are some athletes and some players, but going up against an overmatched team here.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, Ronald Green, you know, arguably was probably the #2 running back in the state of Louisiana behind Leonard Fournette, who all the national attention that he got between who he's going to choose ends up at LSU. But, you know, to be the #2 guy in a state that produces blue chip athletes, especially at running back, and to be behind Fournette, you know, that says a lot. That says a lot about who he is as a player, you know, what they got at Northwestern State with him coming in. You know, unfortunately, the test score issue, but good to see him out on the football field and trying to learn his keep.
Here's our guy, Colin Simpson, getting into the game. To see him out there. It's on 4th and 3. And it's the quarterback keeper for Hazelwood. And it is a first down for Northwestern State. He got in there. Here's Simpson, our guy from Fox Sports University.
A nice job just staying out of trouble and getting to the ball. I mean, that's what you want to do as a linebacker. If you're on the backside, just stay away from the trash. No need to run up there and get occupied by an offensive lineman. So good to see him out there. I'll give him an assist.
It's Ronald Green again, up across the 30, dragged down by Kendall Ehrlich after 5 yards. Down to the final 20 seconds here. And that could be it for our ball game. They're going to hurry back to the line of scrimmage and try and get one more play off. Baylor's sideline started to move, but Northwestern State, they run out of time. 80s final here in Waco. Baylor puts up 70. Keeps Northwestern State out of the end zone. 70-6 the final score for Art Briles and company. And Ben, this game started with a little bit of unknown. Bryce Petty out, a lot of injuries on the receiving side as well. Seth Russell came in, put everybody to rest moving forward here in case Bryce Petty has any more issues.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about the depth offensively for this team. Seth Russell came out tonight, you know, had obviously a career game, showed a lot of poise, throwing some great footballs. So, you know, there's no need to worry about depth at the quarterback. Obviously, we talked about the wide receivers as well. They are set there. But really, for this Baylor team, this whole season, these last 2 games, it's been about their improvement on defense. And once again, they had a shutout last game, and they shut these guys out of the end zone, only managing 2 field goals.
Well, that'll do it here from Waco, where Baylor takes down Northwestern State 70-6. Join us on Fox Sports Networks next Saturday as UTSA, a team that just gave Arizona all it could handle, heads to Stillwater to take on a high-powered Oklahoma State Cowboy team. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. For Ben Lieber and Christian Steckel, I'm Brendan Byrne. Thank you for watching our presentation of Fox College Football. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.